This is an oral history interview conducted for the Witness to War Serving a Nation project at Nauset Regional High School in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. For the sake of this interview, please state your full name and community in which you reside.
Alright, so my name is Sergeant Justin Homer Rheaume, and I currently reside on Otis Joint Base Cape Cod in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts.
Alright, so you can start your early life. Where did you grow up?
I am from Massachusetts originally. I was born and raised in Springfield, Mass.
And what was your childhood like?
Well, I grew up semi-impoverished, lived in a trailer park. My family was never married, so I had two separate families my entire life growing up. My dad was a Marine in the 80s, so I grew up with a no mess around attitude in the household. Other than that, pretty normal childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school.
Yeah. And then right after high school, did you go into the Marines?
So I actually joined the Marines April of my senior year. May 5th was the day I went up to the MEPS processing station, the military entrance processing station in Springfield. And then I was shipped to boot camp in October of 2009.
Did you know you always wanted to join the military?
No. So as I said, my dad was a Marine, so I knew what the Marine Corps was, but my dad never pushed it on me, never discussed it. I always thought I was going to college. Later on in my senior year, I started to realize that college kind of sounded like not a nice option for me. And I was doing 4 years of Air Force Junior ROTC at my high school in Springfield. So military seemed like a smart choice. I told my dad I wanted to talk to a recruiter. And I actually was intending to go to the Air Force office, but I never made it. For me, I actually walked into the Marine Corps office first, and the way that my dad interacted with the local Marine Corps recruiters and the higher up enlisted that just happened to be in the office that day changed my entire perspective about what I wanted to do with my life. I saw a sense of brotherhood that for me just kind of seemed like what I needed with my life, at least for the next foreseeable future. Always been on sports teams, always wanted something like that. I was highly qualified, so a week later my recruiter contacted me and said, "Hey, is this what you want to do?" And I said, "Sounds like something I can do. I'm on board." And signed up, never had any second thoughts about it.
What feelings were you faced when you told your family you were joining the military?
Surprise. The day I shipped to boot camp, my father told me for the first time in my memory that he was proud of me, so that was awesome. That was a nice change of pace. Not that he wasn't proud, we just grew up in that old school household of if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're not going to get praised for it. So I got the, "Hey, I'm proud of you for making this decision and not turning back." Other than that, just pride. My family's supportive of the military. My dad served, my grandparents, my uncles, we've all served, so it's kind of normal for us.
Yeah. Besides joining the military, what did you want to be when you grew up?
When I first talked to my recruiter, I wanted to fly jets. I wanted to be a pilot with my life. Other than that, computers. I love video games. I'm a nerd, as evident by some of the stuff behind me. So I just always wanted to be in some kind of IT and security. But moving into the Marine Corps, I started to realize that I'm really good at electronics. Still gives me that aspect of working around computers. Just I'm not coding, which is kind of boring to me. So I always just wanted to fly. The Marine Corps made it happen for me. I couldn't do it without a degree, so I did it on the aircrew side instead.
Where did you train?
So, as with every Marine here on the East Coast, so everybody that will come out of Cape Cod goes through Parris Island, South Carolina. It's 13 weeks of boot camp, which really isn't that bad. And then, it's kind of hard mentally to prepare you for the rigors of the life. And then 10 days back home, and then you spend another 30 days in North Carolina at MCT, Marine Combat Training, because every Marine is trained how to do combat. We don't all participate in it, but if the necessity ever called, we're ready and prepared for it. From there, I spent 13 months in Pensacola, Florida. I am in one of the most technical skills that the Marine Corps offers, so it required a lot of schooling. Kind of boring. And from there, I moved on to my first unit.
What was training like?
So, like I said, there's 3 different stages. Boot camp, with my dad being a Marine, I honestly thought it was going to be more physically tough than it was. I was kind of upset that it was, we've seen Marines come back that are physically trained for it, so it's fine. Mentally, everything happens for a reason, and I went down there knowing that, so it wasn't too bad. You don't always see the reason right at the beginning, but further on, as I started to finish up boot camp, I realized, everything had its purpose, and it all made sense to me. MCT was fun. I mean, you get to run around with rifles, dummy rounds for 30 days, learning all the different combats, training different weapons. That was fun. Pensacola was more of a college environment. We were on a naval base. The only difference was we marched to and from class, had 3 meals a day, did physical training in the morning. But it was a classroom environment for 13 months straight, learning what I was supposed to do in the Marine Corps. So I mean that part, I didn't want to do college, so that part kind of was boring. But it was good. I was around Marines. It was fun.
From boot camp, what was your most memorable memory?
Boot camp, most memorable memory. Honestly, hands down, it's probably the one memory you're going to get from every Marine you ever talk to would be the EGA ceremony. The look my drill instructor gave me as he shook my hand for the first time as a Marine and congratulated me on being, one of the few and the proud. Because up to that point, you're a recruit. So once you actually get your EGA, you then become a Marine. You're now trained, you're fully accepted, you've passed all the tests. The Crucible is our final test. So when you march back from that, you're done, you get your EGA. That's your first time with, other Marines actually accepting you and calling you a Marine. You're now a private or a PFC, you're not just a recruit anymore. You're allowed to start using rank. So I can remember being there. I will openly admit I teared up a little bit. It was the proudest moment of my life, aside from the birth of my children and the marriage of my wife. So pretty memorable, even 8 years later.
What was your least favorite memory from boot camp?
Least favorite moment of boot camp. I don't really have any that really stick out as like I really didn't like what I was doing. Aside from the fact that I thought I was going to PT more. I was always a runner, and we didn't run as much as I thought we would. So that part kind of stuck with me. Like I really wanted to train more physically. You train every day, all day, but I thought we'd be doing more runs and more stuff like that. So,
do you have any stories from boot camp?
Every Marine has stories. We talk about them for years. I'm sure you could talk to veterans who, like 15, 20 years ago, who still remember boot camp stories. My dad sure does. I catch him every once in a while. It's fun. The Crucible was fun. The gas chamber, I would admit I freaked out a little bit. I saw water at the end. Didn't realize it was bleach water to wash our mask. I put some in my eyes, which was kind of stupid. Don't do that. There is spigot water, but a couple of my recruit buddies helped me out, got me to the water, cleaned my eyes out. Other than that, boot camp's one big story, man. We could sit here for the next, 2 days, and I could tell you boot camp stories. So.
What were some things you had to overcome during boot camp?
Things to overcome during boot camp. So looking back and actually looking at myself as an individual, I was not a selfish individual, but I was always the person who took care of self first. Boot camp trains you out of that, and you have to take care of a team. So I went in there, confident about my own abilities. I went in physically fit, went in mentally prepared, but I started to realize that it was less and less about me as an individual and more about my team. So for me, the biggest thing was taking self out of it. Instead of me wanting to do things because I could show off and be best about them, I would try to help others get better. It shows more progress and better things as a Marine for your team to finish first. My platoon took everything, so we all worked pretty dang hard the entire time.
Did you regret your decision in joining the military ever during boot camp?
So I've been in the military October 2017. It is now December 2017, so I've been in 8 years, 2 months. Not one day in that entire time have I ever looked back and go, I probably shouldn't have done this. And it's actually the contrary. The more I come home, the more I see where my friends are. After college and everything, the more I look back and I'm like, I'm really glad I made a decision when I did, because I really don't like what Springfield looks like nowadays. It could have sucked. And I see what college debt does to my sister, and I'm just not on board. Really glad I don't have to deal with any of that.
Yeah.
So.
Was it hard to leave your family?
Tough question. Was it hard to leave my family? So originally, when I was 18, no. I was raised where 18, you're an individual, you're your own person. Get out there and make a life for yourself. So when I originally left, not too much. I mean, we had a spaghetti meatball dinner. Fantastic. Ate with my recruiter. My recruiter, was like, all right, cool, time to go. We're ready to leave. And I said, all right, cool. Shook my family's hand, gave hugs, and walked out the door. That was it. Never really looked back, thought about it. Leaving my family for deployment, completely different thing. That one's a little harder because I got kids now and I got a wife. So, but originally growing up, no.
When did you meet your wife and have your kids?
I met my wife when I was in the schoolhouse in Pensacola because I was there for over a year. I married her after 3 months of knowing each other and being together. And a week later, we found out, a week after we were married, found out. 2 months later, we found out that a week after we got married, I had accidentally got my wife pregnant. And that's how we had our first kid. The second one was planned. They're 3 years apart, and they're both awesome little boys.
When did you find out you were going to go overseas or be deployed?
So that one, I volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent my first 5 years in the Marine Corps at a non-deployable unit. We were stateside at New River, North Carolina. We took care of the airfield. We weren't deployable. So when I re-enlisted back in 2014, I requested to move down to Beaufort, South Carolina to a deployable unit.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I showed up in May of 2015, they brought me in the office. They're like, hey, you're one of the work center supervisors because you're a sergeant. Congratulations. We're slated for deployment a year from now. Who from your section can go? I immediately raised my hand. I'm going. Got a couple corporals I could take with me and some lance corporals I could take with me as well. So I got a year out. We planned. It takes 6 months, 3 to 6 months for a workup to actually prepare to leave. So nobody just kind of rolls in and leaves right away. It's just not allowed.
Where did you go?
So this is where it gets less cool. I went to Kuwait. I went to Al Jaber Air Base over in Kuwait. It's just a allied nation, and we kind of hung out. We had Air Force, so Army Cats, and Marines on the base. And I did my job. I work on air traffic control equipment, so we kept the air traffic control equipment running while planes came in, took off, and they would go cross-border to Afghanistan and Iraq and do whatever they had to do over there, cargo missions, stuff like that. And then, so we sat there for 6 months, just keeping the gear running. It was pretty hot, but other than that, it was pretty fun.
When you first arrived, what were you feeling?
Well, it was 2 a.m. So, and with the jet lag, we were kind of tired. We were trying to figure out what everything was, but we got nice little rooms. We were all excited, 100% excited. Nobody was there like, oh man, we're here, crap. Everybody was super motivated, super excited. Like, yes, finally a deployment. Yeah, we're doing what we're trained to do. It was fun. Turnover with the crew before us was awesome. They were cool guys. They had been doing their job really well, so we didn't have to fix anything when we rolled in. Other than that, just fun.
What was your everyday life there?
So, I always woke up at 6 a.m. because there's a 10-hour difference. So 6 a.m. would allow me to talk to my family back here before they went to bed. So I would wake up super early, 6 a.m., hang out for about an hour, shower, get it ready, go to the gym, roughly about 6:45, 7 o'clock, do an hour of cardio, come back, change over, shower, do what I had to do, go to breakfast. Air Force had a really nice dining facility. Get my breakfast, go out to my site about 8:30, and I'd chill at my site from 8:30 to about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, doing our day-to-day tasks. We had AC tents, AC equipment, so we just keep electronics rolling all day, every day. If it needed preventive maintenance, we fixed it. If it broke, we fixed it. Other than that, we worked out. At 3, 4 o'clock, I'd come back, go to my room, chill at my room until dinner, eat dinner, and then I'd go to the gym for 2 to 3 hours at night and talk to my family in between there. Greet my family when they woke up because they would wake up after I got off work. And then around like 10 o'clock, I'd go to bed. So 10 to 6 every day, about 8 hours of sleep. Pretty nice.
Was it hard leaving your family?
The deployment one was a little harder. Kids naturally don't understand when you're going away right away. But we had Wi-Fi at the location, so I could talk to my kids every day. And I did talk to my kids every single day on Skype. So it wasn't too terrible. They still recognized my face. They still knew who I was. My youngest was 1. My oldest was 4 at the time, so they still knew everything that was going on. My wife's from a military family. Her dad's deployed 3 times in the Air Force while she was in high school, so she knew what to expect. So it wasn't too bad for us. No.
What was your duty in the military? were you?
I've had a couple different duties in the military. My primary MOS, or our military occupational specialty, is a 5954. I am an air traffic control maintenance communications technician. Means, in really basic terms, I work on radios as far as air traffic control goes. So I work on an airfield, keep the radios running so that we can talk to aircraft. I've done aircrew for 2 years. That's what this is for, which means I flew up and down the East Coast with our officers flying higher ups and cargo up and down the East Coast. And then now my job for this 3 years is a special duty assignment. I am a Marine Corps recruiter. So been around a couple different things. There's a bunch of monotonous cross training stuff in there too, but that list is really long.
How do you spend your free time in the military?
So that's varied through my career so far. In the beginning, like I said, I've always been a nerd. So in the beginning, I played lots of video games. My first 3-4 years, everybody I worked with, like half of us were nerds. So we'd play League of Legends at night. We'd all get online, chill together. Since I got kids now, I spend a lot of my time watching movies, going outside, playing with my kids. Regular stuff, regular things that everybody else does. It's not like, I keep my uniform on 24/7. That's all I ever do. I get free time every night. And that's pretty much it. I hang out with my family.
Yeah. How long were you deployed?
So deployment was actually not that long. It was 6 months. We left in March, late March, came back early October, right before the hurricane of 2015 or 2016. That was awesome. That kind of waywarded us almost. Other than that, just 6 months.
When you were overseas, what was your favorite memory or most memorable memory?
Most memorable moment for overseas would be realistically we took a big picture day. We brought our cameras out. We were packing up all our gear to come home, and just the faces of all the Marines coming together, tearing down equipment, being able to put it all together, and then standing in front of it all super happy and moto while we took pictures for our little deployment yearbook. Just knowing that even though we'd been out there for like 5 months, Marines were still super happy, super excited. Nobody was down in the dumps. It's just we all come together as a team and enjoy it, no matter what.
What was your least favorite moment?
Least favorite moment overseas? Probably the day they shut the pool down for Marines. The Air Force had a pool, and Marines were using it, and apparently we were getting too rambunctious in the pool, so they shut it down. We weren't allowed to go in and party. We could only go in and do like physical training activities like swimming laps. I mean, I guess that's how great my deployment was. Maybe just the pool got shut down. We couldn't do fun things in the pool no more. Volleyball was out, so.
Do you remember seeing anything you wish you didn't see?
Seeing anything I wish I didn't see? Not in particular. Kuwait was pretty relaxed. It's an allied nation. We did have to go through, standard operating procedures to move around, convoys, things like that. But and there was always in the back of your mind something might happen, but the chances are realistically kind of small over there. It's a lot different than Afghanistan. So I didn't see any bad war stuff. No.
What do you miss most about being deployed?
The brotherhood, just being around my Marines, being up in Cape Cod. There's 4 of us. Sometimes we get guys back from boot camp, which is fun. But I just miss being around the Marines. It was Marines 24/7 every day. You go to work, Marines. You go back to the hut, Marines. You go to the gym, Marines. You go to chow, Marines. It was awesome. Like I said, I joined for the sense of brotherhood when I first came in, so that was the number one thing for me. It's just always being around my Marines, having somebody greet me in the morning. Hey, how you doing, sir? I'm like, doing great, man. How's your night? I'm good. Sweet.
If you were to join the military, what advice would you give us?
So, because you guys are freshmen, and everybody who might watch this is freshmen, I would just recommend study. Sorry, here you go. So just study your math and your English, because we take an ASVAB, which is a placement test, which opens up and shows us what we're good at. So my biggest thing for everybody is always do as well as you can on a test, because you never know what you really like as a person. I had no idea that I would end up as an electrician. The Marine Corps told me I was good at it, and I was like, sweet, let me try it. It never hurts. So go in it with an open mind, take the ASVAB. But realistically, if you want to be a Marine to be a Marine. Don't do it for a job. Just do it because it's something you want to experience in your life. Whether you're a 4-year person, I came in thinking I was going to do 4. Right now, I'm shooting for 20, potentially more, just because I fell in love with the culture. Just go in it with an open mind and enjoy every day. Marines are always fun. There's going to be something fun you're going to do.
So you're talking about the brotherhood. Like, how did that shape you?
So like I said, I was always on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Diving, ROTC drill team, cross country, track and field. Most of those are events where you do your individual thing and you kind of come together as a team, which was nice. But in the Marine Corps, everybody's individual aspects is what makes them special. No Marine is the exact same as every other. We're trained basically to do the same things, but we all have our own aspects. So for me, I just love being around Marines all the time. Everybody's always excited to be there. It's not like walking in an office and everybody hates what they're doing as a job and they're just there because they want to make a paycheck. Marines are there because Marines want to experience something different. Mm-hmm. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, even if it's for 4 years. Even if when they come in, they're like, this isn't my bag, they still do their job, love doing what they're doing, and then they get out at 4 years, which is awesome. We don't ask that everybody stays for 20. Everybody literally can't. So it is what it is. But for me, it's just shaped me because it's made me from an individual person that only cares about me, being the best I could be, to I had one staff sergeant who taught me that it's not about me, it's about the team. No matter what I do, it's irrelevant if what I'm doing is causing the rest of my team to fail. So I've changed my aspect and my outlook on life, period, to now I look out for every individual around me, whether that be, somebody out on the street, somebody that I have, in my family, somebody that I'm working with. I'm always trying to make them better, make them happy about their life, because as long as they're happy, I'm happy. My answer every day to how are you feeling today is fantastic. Still breathing, I'm still here. So obviously everything's going good for me today. I mean, it could be a lot worse. I could have an ailment, I could be disabled, I could have something going on, I could not be here, which would be really crappy. So you just go into it, be happy with what you're doing, enjoy being around other people. Because as long as everybody in the group's happy, I'm happy.
Are you still in touch with anyone that you were deployed with?
Actually, yes. I was talking to Corporal Quezada this morning. I have picked up Staff Sergeant on the 1st, and I'm getting my blues tailored. So all my old chevrons are coming off. And Corporal Peterson just got selected for sergeant, so he picks up on the 1st. Not your brother Peterson, my Peterson down in Beaufort. So I contacted Corporal Quezada to figure out if him and Peterson have done their uniforms yet. Mm-hmm. They have not. They're picking up their stuff up on the 1st. So I'll be sending my old service stripes and my old chevrons down to my old Marines so that they can put them on their uniform. It's kind of like passing tradition. These were mine as a sergeant. He's going to put them on so that he remembers every time he puts them on that he has to be a good sergeant as well. So I'm always in contact with people from other units.
How did your expectation compare to what you saw in your?
Well, like I said at the beginning, I'm a tech, so I do a more technical skill. So for us, it's a little different. We stayed in ACs. I was expecting like a crappy tent, crappy bed. I had a twin size bed, AC'd room. My gear is AC'd all the time. So I thought we'd be eating meals ready to eat, MREs. I ate regular food for 6 months. It was actually pretty delicious. So deployment was way easier than I thought it was going to be. But that's from my side. I'm an air winger, and I do a tech skill.
What was it like when you first saw your family coming home?
Well, my little guy ran past me because everybody's wearing camis, and he couldn't find my face. It was dark, so the little guy took off running past me. Wife was super happy to see me. I was in better shape. She was in better shape. It was promised to each other when we left. When we came back, we'd be in better shape for each other. Other than that, just super happy. Got back in my car, took back off. It was fun. Not a whole lot of different, other than mommy was in charge for 6 months, so daddy had to learn the rules.
Yeah.
That's it. Daddy had to listen.
Did you, when you first were deployed, did you know that you were going to be there for 6 months, or when did you find out that you were going to come home?
So the way the deployments work is you get a vague timeline of what you're going to do. There's operational security. You don't know the exact day you're going to leave because they don't want people to leak it. You don't know the exact day you're coming home until it almost arrives because you don't want people to leak it. Can't be on text messages or Skype saying, "Hey, I'm coming back on the 26th."
Yeah.
Great, now everybody knows you're coming back on the 26th as long as they read your stuff. So we had a vague idea of what our rotation would look like, but we did not have set dates for it. We just knew it would be somewhere in the spring to the fall. So not too long.
Describe your uniform. I know you're wearing it right now. So.
All right, so hopefully I'm wearing it appropriately, but my uniform is the dress blues. It's our most important uniform. So each of these buttons signifies one of the original 7 states. This is my rank insignia. It's a sergeant. Like I said, it'll be a staff sergeant soon. These are service stripes. So every 4 years you earn a service stripe. So right now I'm at 8, so I have 2 service stripes. The belt has an EGA in the middle, which is symbolized of an NCO. When I pick up on the first, I will have an EGA with a wreath around it for staff NCOs. Shooting badge just lets people know how well I qualified on the range in the last year. And then ribbons. And this is my aircrew medal, letting people know that I've qualified as aircrew, and it is a billet that I am eligible to do. It's earned for that. Other than that, the trousers that I'm wearing are normally blue for people that aren't NCOs. As soon as you obtain the NCO rank, you get what's called the blood stripe down the center of each leg. That's it.
When you're wearing the uniform, do you feel like you're treated differently?
So down south by the bases, not so much because everybody wears it. It's normal. Up here, this is my day-to-day outfit, and actually, surprisingly, yes. Originally from Massachusetts, I thought it was a liberal area. I was not expecting such a warm welcome when I came home, but I do get a thank you just about every day I go out, which is awesome. I don't see what I do as anything special, but I appreciate that other people do see what I do as special. So.
Do you miss anything from being deployed?
3 hours in the gym was nice. That was awesome. It was part of my work schedule. And then just being around my Marines, being around the guys. There was 50 of us on deployment. I was one of the top 5, so it was pretty nice. Everybody, worked together. We were a good, cohesive unit. Everybody got awards when we came back, so it was fun. And honestly, I was glad to see we made it fun. Nobody was complaining. It was just a good time. A lot of people were trying to volunteer to stay, which didn't pan out, and they were upset they had to come home, but it is what it is.
Do you have any questions?
Did you pick up any routines that you still use today?
So the hardest one for me to break when I came home was to stop going to the gym 3 hours a day because that wasn't conducive to spending time with my kids. Before I could just message or Skype them and be like, "Hey, yeah, Daddy's at the gym." Doesn't matter, but I had to give up my 3 hours a day at the gym. Other than that, habits that I brought back, making sure my Marines were still good was always a habit of mine before, so that's a habit that continued. Other than that, everything we did over there for the most part was the exact same that we were doing over here. We were just in a forward environment, so not too much different.
I think we're almost done.
Touching on the gym, do you still go? How many hours a day do you go?
So right now, due to my current job as a recruiter, I only get about an hour a day. Usually try to go in the morning because you guys' schedule is usually pretty hectic, which caused my schedule to be a little hectic. So I work it in the morning, but other than that, I have a treadmill. I have a full weight set at home. I have an elliptical at my house, things that I've picked up over the years being a Marine. So at any one point in time, I can go home and work out.
So you plan to do this the rest of your life, basically, or as long as you possibly can?
My slogan for it right now is I'm staying in till they kick me out. I had to compete to re-enlist the first time. There was 12 of us in my MOS that wanted to stay in, and only 4 of us were eligible to stay in our MOS. I was one of the fortunate 4 that got to stay in our MOS, so I've been able to stay. Right now I'm slated for 11 years. Why not? It does wonderful things for my family. It does wonderful things for me. Keeps me in shape. My entire family's not in shape, so it works for me.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.